Hello everyone, my name is Stephanie and you're welcome to my channel. So in this video I'm going to be sharing with you guys the sewing part of this bustier top that I drafted in my previous video. It was really a detailed tutorial on how to draft it and also cut it. So if you haven't watched that, I'm going to link it in my description or I'll post it over here so that you can watch after watching this very one. Okay, so guys, I already drafted it like I said in my previous video, so I'm going to place it on the main fabric on fold. So the fabric is on fold, so this is actually the mid piece of the bustier top. So I'm going to be cutting it all over, leaving about half of an inch from the downside to the side and also to the mid side, because I'll be joining the mid side as well. So I'm just going to cut it all the way around with leaving half of an inch all the way around for sewing allowance. So guys, after doing that, I'll also place the side piece of the front piece on fold as well, because I need two of the pieces, and I'm also going to cut leaving half of an inch from the downside. So the side I'm going to be adding sewing allowance, because when I was drafting it there was no sewing allowance added to it, so I'm adding 1.5 inch of sewing allowance all the way through to the end. So when I'm done from the other side, I'm going to be adding half of an inch, and also the upper side half of an inch, and then I will go ahead and cut it out. So after cutting the front pieces, I'm going to be placing the back piece as well on fold as well. So the back piece, I actually added 1 inch of that, so I'm going to be replacing the darts on the main fabric because I'll be holding the darts, and then I'm going to add 1.5 inch of sewing allowance. So I'm going to make it 2.5 inch. So I'll go ahead and mark it to the other side. So I'll just mark it like that, and then I'll be adding half of an inch to other side from the downside and the upper side. So from this zip allowance side, I'm not going to add any allowance because the zip allowance is already added, so I'm not going to add any sewing allowance from there. So I'll add the half an inch from the upper side and the downside, and I'll add extra sewing and that's from the side. So guys, I'm actually done doing that. I'm done cutting all the pieces. This is what it looks like. So I'm going to be notching from this under bust side. I'll be notching from the mid piece and then also the side piece of the front as well, so that by the time I'm placing it, I'll know where to place it exactly. So I'll notch from this other side as well. So after doing that, I'll go ahead and cut lining pieces for all the pieces and also ST for all the pieces. So guys, you see what I'm actually talking about. I went ahead to cut two of them for all the pieces, both the back and the front pieces. So I went ahead to also neatly iron them as well to stay on the main fabric. I actually iron it on the main fabric. So the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to be sewing the pieces together now. So I'm starting with the mid piece. I'll place the right sides facing each other just the same way you see like this. So I left half of an inch for sewing. I'll go ahead and pin it down, and then I'll take it to my sewing machine and sew the half of an inch from that mid side all the way to the downside. So when I'm done, I'm going ahead to open it. I'll go ahead and open it and then place the right side of the side piece to the mid piece, and then I will make sure that the under bust is actually matching. I will sew it all the way to the upper side and the downside. I'll do the same thing to this other side as well. So whatever that I'm doing to the main pieces, I'm be repeating it to the lining pieces as well. So the back piece, I went ahead to transfer the darts on the main pieces and also the lining pieces as well. So I'll just go ahead and sew them on my sewing machine. So I'll be sewing the darts both on the main pieces and also the lining pieces. So what I'm doing to the front piece, I'm going to be repeating the same thing with these lining pieces as well. So guys, this is actually what it looks like after joining the sides with the mid piece. This is what it looks like. So by the time I fix the bra cup inside, is actually going to stand and not fall. So guys, I also went ahead to iron the seams open. I neatly ironed them just the same way you see, like this, all the way to the upper side. See that I actually, the underbust is actually matching just the same way I actually notch. So I also went ahead to sew the dart at the back, and I did the same thing to this other piece as well, and also the two lining pieces as well. And also for the front piece of the lining, I also went there to join it the same way thing that I actually did on the main piece. And I also ironed the seams open. I neatly open it and iron them neatly just the same way you see, like this. So the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to still be carving the downside, because when I was done joining, I discovered that the curve is not really there. So I went ahead to trace it up with a white chalk just the same way you see, like this. So I'll still trace it up and go in a bit more to actually give it that curvy effect. So after doing that, I'll go ahead and cut it, and then I'll place it on the lining and other pieces as well to do the same thing so that they will align and match together. So guys, you see, actually see what I was talking about. It was almost straight. It was not as curvy, but now that I actually added it, it's actually showing more. So I'll place it on the lining piece for the front, and then I also place it on the back pieces and also the lining pieces as well. So I'm actually done doing that to see how the whole thing looks like now. So on the lining pieces as well, I did the same thing. So guys, the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to be placing the right sides of the main pieces facing each other just the same way you see, like this. I'll place this other side as well, and then I'll go ahead and pin it down. I'll pin the both sides together, and I also pin from this zipper allowance side as well. So when I'm actually done, I'm going to insert the sewing allowance that I actually left for it, which is 1.5 inch. I went ahead to do it on the main and the lining piece as well. You see the 1.5 inch, I did the same thing to this other side, and I also pin it down. So I'll go ahead and sew it, and then I also mark on the main piece. I'll also go ahead and sew it as well. So guys, after sewing it, this is what it looks like. So I'll go ahead and trim the excess fabric by the side. I will trim it by this other side as well. And I'll also go ahead and remove the pins that I actually pinned the zipper allowance side, and I'll go ahead and neatly iron the side. I'll neatly iron it, iron the side so that it will actually stay in place. And I'll also do the same thing to the lining piece as well. So guys, for the lining piece as well, I also went there to sew it. I will trim the excess, and I'll also remove the pins for the zipper side. I'll open it up, go ahead and neatly iron it so that it will also stay in place. And then for the sleeve at the upper side, I also went there to sew it. I actually cut it to sew to join the sides, both sides. So how I was able to actually get it is that from the main piece that I actually drafted, you can actually go ahead and place it from that shoulder slant all the way to the chest line. That's actually how you get it, and then add extra allowance. Or another alternative is that you place it from the under bust side and take it all the way to the upper side. So the extra inches that you have there, for this one I have 6.5 inches. So the extra 6.5 inches that I have at the upper side, I'm going to times it by 2 and then add extra sewing allowance for both sides. So you see that I actually sew and then I iron the sides. So the length that I have here is 13. I have 14 inches, so 1 inch is going to be for sewing allowance from both sides. So the length is 13, that's 6.5 times 2. So the width of it, I have 11.5 inches, but it was actually 12.5. So I sew from both sides half inch each. I now have 11.5 inches. So what I'm going to do is that from this midpoint, I'll go ahead and mark it all the way to 6 inches. I marked to 6 inches, so that's actually where I'm going to start placing the a sleeve, and then from the side seam I'm going to be moving in by half of an inch. So that's where I'm going to be placing it, from where the chalk is marked. So I'll place it like that, and then I'll go ahead and take it close. I'll pleat it really close, and then I'll make sure that everything is within the space that I actually mark. So when I'm done, I'll go ahead and sew it on my sewing machine. So for the back piece, I'm going to be marking half of an inch away from the seam, a side seam as well. So I'll also go ahead and place it from there. I'll take it just the same way you see like this. Make sure that it's not twisted. I'll take it and also pleat it really close, and then take it to my sewing machine to sew it. I will do the same thing to the other side. So guys, after doing that, this is what I have after sewing the sleeves. This is how the end results look like. So the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to be fixing the cup inside the top. I'm going to be fixing the cup. So from the underburst, I'm going to be placing it from where I actually notch, just the same way you see like this. I'll place it from there. But first of all, I'll go ahead and mark the cup. I'll mark the midpoint of the cup, both from the upper side and the down side, to actually place it correctly. So I'll mark it and mark the other one as well, and then I'll go ahead and place it from the underburst. So guys, I will go ahead and place it from the underburst, and then I will use my pins, my office pins, and then pin it down to the fabric. I will do the same thing to this other side as well. So guys, when I was actually pinning, I remember that to use this hemming gum to actually put it inside and then iron it so that the bra cup will actually sit on the main fabric. So I will just cut the hemming gum and then put it in between the bra cup and then the main piece. I'll put it all the way through, all the way around. So when I'm done, I will take my iron, and then I'll neatly iron it to stay in place on the main fabric, the bra cup to stay on the main fabric. And then when I'm done, I'll actually use my hand needle to stitch the bra cup again from those sides. So you see how it actually is. I went ahead to iron it as well, so I went ahead to use my hand needle to also sew it from those points that have extra allowances from the downside and then the sides, just the same way you see like that. So this is actually how it looks like after ironing it and stitching it down from the inside. So the stitch is not actually showing from the outside, is from the inside. So after doing that, I will fold the sleeve inside the main piece, and then I'll place the lining piece on the main piece with the right sides facing each other, and then I will use my pins to pin it all the way through from the upper side to the side and also the downside as well. So guys, you're actually closing the top all over, so you just have to like confirm the measurement, measure the person correctly and the current measurement of the person, so that when you're done sewing it, you don't have to like still lose it, because that was the situation that happened to me. When I was done, I had to still lose it up to still adjust it. So make sure that you confirm all the measurements and then get the current measurement of the person, so that you don't end up losing the whole thing, because it's a lot of work to do. So when you are pinning it down, just make sure that you open the seams. Don't allow them to lie in one side. Open up the seams before you actually go ahead and pin it all the way down, just the same way you see me doing. Just adjust it neatly and correctly, so that by the time you finish, it will not give you so much headache when you are sewing it. So guys, after pinning it all the way through, I will go ahead and sew about half of an inch all the way from the upper side to the side, and also all the way to the down side. So guys, from the side where the zipper allowance is going to be, one side of it, I'm going to be leaving it open. I'm going to be leaving a big space so that I'll be able to turn everything inside out when I'm done sewing. So guys, I'm actually done sewing all the way to the upper side, and you see that I actually left the space to turn it. I sew one side of it and close it up, close the down part as well, and I also went there to notch it all the way to the upper side and the downside and one side, so that when I'm ironing it will actually be flat, to lay flat. So I'll go ahead and turn it inside out from that space that I actually kept for it. I'll turn it inside out, so this is actually how it looks like. I'll go ahead and neatly arrange it, and then I'll iron it, press it very well so that it will be flat. The lining piece will not be showing from the downside, and the upper side I will just iron it. And the upper side I actually used hemming gum to actually hem it so that it will not be moving from the upper side. So guys, I'm actually done doing that. I'm done ironing it. This is actually how it looks like. So you see what I'm talking about. I actually use hemming gum at the upper side to hold it up. So the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to be fixing the zipper on the dress. So I went there to close that space that I actually turned it inside out. I sew it, I actually top stitch. So I'm going to be sewing the zipper on the top right now. So I'm going to place it, I'm going to be fixing it as an invisible zip. It's going to be like an invisible zip, so I'll place it like that. I will sew it and then sew the other side. So I'll be cutting the excess zipper because it's too long, it's longer than the top. So guys, this is actually the end result of the top. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.